Okay, so we are ready to bring those layers that we exported from After Effects, or that we exported from Photoshop, sorry, into After Effects and add some animation keyframes to each one of those layers. So I can import those by going to File, Import, and then finding them. So File, Import File, and I could go and I could find them. I'm going to show you another quick and easy way to do that. So from here, if I just Control click each one of the layers, so Crescent 1 layer, Crescent 2 layer, and the T layer, I can actually just drag these over into the project. And there we go. So I'm going to click off those, and let's create a couple folders. It's always good to keep ourselves organized. About that. Call this comps. Okay. So I'm going to Control click these images, and I'm going to drag them onto the images folder. Okay. For comps, I'm not going to drag these out because I don't want to use these dimensions for a comp. I just want to make my own composition and set that myself this time. So I'm going to do new composition. Let's use the preset, the HD TV 1080 by 24, or you can come in here and manually type in these numbers. You may need to uncheck this so that these aren't locked together, but type in 1920, 1080, recheck that. Make sure this is set to square pixels. Frame rate at 24 is great. Duration, if you have all, if your duration looks like mine, so you have these little zeros, colon, 00, colon, a couple more digits and a colon, just do 4 at this very end here, do 4 to where you have a colon and 2 zeros at the end. So that'll be 4 seconds. If all you have is numbers, just type in 96. And I'll show you what that looks like here too real quick. So anyways, we want to make this 4 seconds, but if we're looking at just frame count, 96 frames is the equivalent to 4 seconds. So just to get a view of that though, I'm just going to Control click that, come back up to composition settings. As you can see, it can look a little different. But if I just highlight all that and type in 96, that'll do the same thing. Alright, I prefer that view, so I'm just going to Control click that so I get my seconds view. And so if I drag all the way to the end of the time slider, I should see this, because one more frame would be actually 4 seconds, and because we start on frame 0, this is actually a 4 second long composition. Alright, just middle mouse roll in a little bit. Actually, I'm going to click here and do fit. Okay. So let's get these layers in here and add some animation. So I'm just going to drag a box around all of them, and I'm just going to pull them all the way down inside the comp and let go. If I click the little arrow and then click the little arrow next to transform, I can see position is right here. I'm going to actually drag this off to the side. Oops. Guess it's that one. We're going to drag that one off to the side, where you can see this number right here is changing. So if I just click and drag on that, on the X, so this is X axis side to side, this is Y axis up and down. So we'll just move the X axis till it's off, and we'll click the little stopwatch to set a keyframe, go all the way to the end, and let's just click and drag that back on. So we have something like that. And as you can see, since we already clicked the stopwatch, it turned on our keyframes, so we have another keyframe. Just remember, you can always click and move these keyframes around. Just going to Control Z and undo that. Draw a box around both of them so I have them highlighted, and then if I click F9, I'll get that easy ease where we ease in and ease out, stuff like that. Okay, so from here, I'm just going to click this arrow and collapse that crescent layer. I'm going to open up this crescent layer, and I'm going to open up the transform, and I'm going to come back to frame 1. I'm going to click position, and I'm going to click on the X and just drag that off. Okay. Now because we clicked the stopwatch, we have a little keyframe, so you can see a little ticker right there. I'm just going to drag my time slider all the way to the end, and then I'm going to use my X axis to bring that back on. Okay, and that looks good. let's make sure we're back at frame 1. And we're going to open up everything into our transform. And we're going to hit the keyframe for our position, so it'll start recording keyframes. This time I want to use my y-axis, so I'm just going to have it animate coming on from the top. And we can see our little keyframe. I'm just going to drag it all the way to the end. Actually, not to the end, because I want it to land there before the crescent, so I'm going to have the T land around here. So I'm just going to drag the T back into position, somewhere around there, and we'll just see what that looks like. Okay, so it looks like that keyframe actually needs to come down a little bit more, so I can just click on that key, and I want to change the Y. Let's do 540, and we can just click OK. And so that'll bring that in. And then I can just close that, and if I drag through here, I can see that I have an animation. Alright, so the next video will be how do we render this out.